Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 56-year-old from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. His hockey journey has taken him to Canada, the USA, Italy, Germany, and he just became an Erste Liga champion with Csikszereda of Romania. As a player, he is our first Dixie Beehive and a staple of the Northeastern Huskies. Became a legend and champion with Milano of the Italian League over 5 seasons and went straight to being their head coach. He then became a German ice hockey legend where he has run amok from 98 to 2021 as a head coach, GM, or sports manager, whatever you want to call it. And he became a Deutsche Meister in 2015-16 with the Castle Huskies and an Oberliga champion with the Heilbronner Falkens. But he is best known for signing me after one of the best tightrope walking experiences ever and banishing me from Germany in 2013. Welcome to the shed, Rico Rossi.
What's going on, Wally?
Hey, so thank you so much for coming to the shed. I get into how we know each other, and I guess we haven't talked since you asked me to kindly leave Germany.
Listen, dude, business is business, eh?
Business is business, right? It's not like I had a little baby, if
He's
you know,
frozen.
wife. Are you frozen or am I frozen? Oh my God. There you are. What?
There we go.
Hey, there you are.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah, you didn't want me back, eh? But I guess that was when they let you go, and then you picked the team for the next year, eh?
You know, Wally, I was just asking my son to look up where, when, what, and why, because I was trying to flash back. You got to remember now, man, I got a lot of years behind me. I'm not sure who's who anymore.
Oh, are you having those issues?
I'm still yelling for Wally to go, and they're still telling me, Coach, I don't play here anymore. The year after you left, I was still yelling, Wally, power play. Coach doesn't play here anymore. Yeah, that's right.
No, actually, you know what? That year we underachieved as a team. We had good players, but I get into that. That was the 2012-13 Heilbronner Falkens. We had a lot of goalies that year, some NHL players. We had Slovaks. We had all sorts of stuff go on that year. Do you remember that one?
Was that the lockout year where we had Bernier in net?
Yeah, and we had him, Alex Westland, and Nastia. We had 3 imports go through that year. Yeah. What are you doing? You swinging deals over there?
Eh?
Were you swinging deals over there? You got the phone going or what?
No, just checking out who's looking for work, man. Yeah, we had Bernie in net. We had Gervais on the back end, another ex-NHLer.
No, he was in the NHL, right? Bruno? Yeah, he was with the Islanders at the time. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. And Bernie come to us, I think, from
didn't he just came to get ready for the Spengler Cup, I thought.
Yeah, but he had been playing in the NHL, and then he went back on to play in the NHL after they all left.
That way, when he was over, he was
from LA. That's right.
Yeah, LA. And he told me while he was over there playing with us that he heard he was going to get traded to the Leafs, and then he did.
Yeah, pretty good switch, LA to Heilbronn, huh?
Yeah, what are you gonna do, eh? Yeah, y'all end up there someday, guys.
Oh man,
y'all end up in the shed someday, right? But let's be serious with that lockout going on that year. Once that all happened, you probably wish you hadn't already signed me, eh?
Listen, I never regretted signing you. You still put up some numbers for me, didn't you? What were your numbers that year?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
That year wasn't the most.
I'm going to tell you what it was. It was 51 points.
Is your son helping you
46 games.
Yeah, well, that's below average, I'd say, for my career in the second league. But anywho, you didn't buy me the good stick.
Bietigheim. Where did I get you out of? Bietigheim or Landshut?
Bietigheim.
Yeah, so I took you from our rivals, which was huge.
Yeah, I thought they'd be more upset. They didn't seem to give a shit.
You got to ask yourself why, Wally.
Okay. I know you got a lot of years ahead, past you here. Okay. Let's see how your memory is here, because it's one of my favorite stories. And I think this is my tale for this episode. Okay. Because this is how we know each other. After the last season in beating Heim, I was with them. I had hernia surgery. I couldn't do anything for like, I don't know how long they said, but I drank wine. I ate pizza. I enjoyed Germany. I was a fat mess, just disgusting mess. And they were just letting me to start exercising and do stuff again. And you had seen me at the VIP room at a Bietigheim Steeler game. And you said, we've talked about you playing for me before. Why don't we see about next year? And I said, hey, maybe now is the time. And then you said, well, we got to check out your knee before we sign you. Do you remember when I had to walk across a tightrope at a doctor's office in Heilbronner, Germany, and I was a fat mess and there was fat jiggling everywhere and I was topless and I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. And you still signed me.
Dude, I was so hoping you were going to fail that test.
Dude, I thought I did fail the test just based on appearance.
No.
You didn't have to sign me still. You could have said, look at you. It was the worst I looked, I'd say.
Listen, you always listen. Let's not try to kid anybody. You were never the freaking fittest kid in town, eh? But what you could do was score your goals. So let's leave it at that.
Well, thanks for signing me there when I was, I get depressed when I guess I'm injured and I'm not around the boys and I'm not around the team. And it happened when I had the hernia surgery. And then thank you for signing me when I, had gained a few lbs.
You know what? I don't sign the guy at the time. I sign the man who's going to play the way he's played in his past. The odds are, if you did it before, you're going to do it again. It's just up to me to put you in the position to do it.
Yeah, well, anything that swims, runs, or flies in the summer. That's the only thing I'd eat, right? And above ground vegetables. I'd get fat in Germany each season eating the great food, and then I'd go home and eat nothing. Get ready for another year.
Where is now, man?
Kincardine, Ontario.
Where is that?
About 2.5 hours from Toronto, the west coast of Ontario. Straight across the Lake Huron would be Michigan.
Okay.
So we're right on the shores of Lake Huron. And I'm having a golf tournament June 25th, Ainsdale Golf Course here at Kincardine. Everybody's welcome. Register at aleshockeytales.com. Okay. Having a golf tournament here at Kincardine. But anyways, that's where I'm at. So I guess where and what are you doing now? Are you there? Can you hear me?
Dude, you're freezing. I didn't catch that. What'd you ask me?
Oh, really? I said, where and what are you doing now?
Well, I'm right now in Bolton. That's my hometown, Toronto, just outside of Toronto. So I'm back for the summer and I'm getting ready to go back again. August 6th, I'll head back over to Germany and then I'll head from there to Romania. Back to the team. The name of the team is called Csikszereda. I heard you trying to say it.
Csikszereda. That makes sense the way it's spelled. Yeah. So you're going back. You just won the championship, but I do have to mention Bolton, Ontario. That's funny. You just brought that up. I was an under 11 Kincardine Canucks coach this year. And I love those little fellas. And raffling off a jersey, a 2 Ales jersey signed by my team. We made 2 Ales and Hockey Tales custom mini sticks, and they were made in Bolton, Ontario.
See that? It's a small world, the hockey world, my friend.
Weird. They made some wonderful custom sticks, and I gave them out at Evan's birthday party, his 10th birthday party this weekend, and it was a fantastic moment. So thank you to that company in Bolton, Ontario that made the custom sticks, right? Anyways, I hope I'm not cutting out. So I've had a hell of a day, Rico. My internet sucked all day working from home, and I've been getting new routers. I didn't even know if we were going to be able to do this. So I'm back to running off Wi-Fi out here in the shed, and I'm sorry. It's embarrassing.
No, it's doing so well. Once in a while you drop out, but otherwise I got you, mate.
Okay. So you're in Romania. What's that like?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. It's really a very aesthetically pretty country. They got a lot of hills, got a lot of greenery. It's very, very aesthetically pleasing. It has its deficits in as far as bureaucrat. There's a lot of bureaucracy going there. There's not a lot of organizational stuff. The roads are not very good, but the people is what really makes that country. They're really genuine people. They like you or they don't. They're not going to bullshit you. They're going to tell you the honest truth.
You're like that.
And I respect that. Yeah, you know how I am, Wally. I'm not going to be buddies with you if I don't want to be your buddy. I'm going to tell you the truth. Then it's up to you to deal with it. You don't like what I say, you can tell me to get lost. I got no problem with that. But the Romanians are very, very nice people. And the town where I'm in, it's in Transylvania. It's actually, the region's called Transylvania, where Dracula's castle is. I actually visited Dracula's castle with my wife. It was a beautiful trip.
Serious? That's a real place.
It is. I know. It's 150 kilometers from me. Okay.
What?
The problem is 150 kilometers takes you 4 hours because they don't have highways.
I can't wait to tell my kids that you went to Dracula's real castle. That's cool.
It was unbelievable. We did the same. We took pictures and sent them to our kids back here in Canada.
Good stuff.
It's a different world, but I got to be honest. The Erste Liga, it's a mix between 8 Hungarian teams and 3 Romanian teams, and the 3 Romanian teams finished 1. We were first, 2, and 5. So they're some of the better teams. The 3 Romanian teams. That's us, Brasov, and another team.
I think I'm just putting the small world together. Research team missed looking up your roster, but was Ben O'Connor on your team?
Yes, sir, he was.
Left Cardiff to come to you.
Yep, you know him?
He came to the shed. He's had an episode.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wait till I tell him. I'm gonna text him. I'm gonna WhatsApp him after.
Yeah, tell him he better show up for practice better than he shows up to the shed. I got up at 5 a.m. to have a chat with him, and it was 11 a.m. in the UK or whatever. And he was the one that was late. He was the one not ready. And I was up at 5 a.m. to talk hockey. I know I got my issues, but like, whatever. Be on time for practice, Ben.
I signed Ben at Christmas time.
And then you guys won the championship. God, I'm putting it all together now. I saw he won that league.
Yeah, we did.
And now you're coaching that league and you won. Makes sense. Yeah, so did he run your power play?
Together. He absolutely did. He was on. I had 2 really good units. I mean, if you check my roster in Csikszereda last year, I got 5 Russians, 2 or 3 of them with Romanian passes now. But these guys have got 400, 500, 600 KHL games. They're millionaires. They're not slugs that we find on the road. These guys are real. They're just older now. They're 38, 39. One of the guys.
And they still love hockey and want to play.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the guys, Taratukhin, he played on the Olympics with the Ovechkin and Datsuk and these guys.
Andre Telyukin?
No. Taratukhin is his name. Can't remember his first name. Jeez. We always just call him
How do you remember everybody's names on your team? Do you just make up nicknames or what?
It's not easy. I always try to shorten, but because some of the names I can't even say. Like the Romanian names are not easy to say. So I kind of always find a way to make a name. I mean, yours was Wally. It was easy.
Yeah.
And it's easy to them because it's their language. But when you're from another language, you got to really try to work hard at figuring out their names. And I had brothers on the team, which is worse because then I couldn't figure out which one was which.
Oh, they probably looked the same too. Shot the same way, skated the same.
Both left-handed. There was inches between the 2 of them. It was a mess. I figured it out by the end of the year.
Yeah. So you went there during the season, right?
Yeah. I got there around middle of November.
And then, so Ben's one of the guys you bring in then to bolster the roster.
Absolutely. I brought him in, an American called Jamie Milliam. I brought them both in at Christmas time.
Nice. Well, so then you guys end up winning it. What's playoffs like in that league? Is it like best of 7s or what is it?
Yeah. Best of 7s. The only thing that was different, which I'd never experienced before, is because we were first place, second place, third place, and fourth place gets to pick their opponents. You don't play 1 against 8. I can pick
same
5.
as in Denmark. Yeah, we did that.
That there too.
Yeah.
It was new to me, so I'd never really done that. So I relied a lot on my assistant coach and the board of directors there to help me get through that process, because I didn't even know, I didn't understand it. I just play whoever they put in front of us, right?
So that, yeah, you're not gonna, if you don't know the league and you don't know, like, say, the natives, like
The tradition,
right,
yeah.
like you don't know your Fabian Cruels or your Carciolas, or
That's right.
you don't know
Yeah.
your core guides, like who are the natives, right, or the
That's right.
non-imports.
Locals.
So yeah, you need a GM in that situation, right, till you get your feet under you, but you can pick out the imports. How many do you get?
You know, there was an import limit of 6 last year, but now they're using a point system for next year.
Oh,
So
the
you
point
can
system, that
actually
shit gets
play-
confusing.
Yeah, I know, it's like a salary cap. You have to keep your track on it, but we could actually play with 17 imports, but you can't play with more than 17 players because it'll get over the number, over whatever the cap number is.
You
So-
what? You could play with 17 imports, but that'd be too many points, right?
No, 17. I think each import's worth 3. I think you're allowed 51 points per
But
night.
so
You can
so
dress-
then as a
you can dress
coach and
51 points.
okay, but as a coach and GMs, right? There's also not just signing imports. You got to get some locals or some guys from around the area, right? Like nobody wants to get behind a team where their players come from anywhere, right?
No, absolutely. It's all about the locals, Wally. If you
Yeah.
don't have, first of all, if you don't have good locals, it's going to be a tough time to win.
In
Because
any
you can
league,
only
in
play
any country, right?
any country. Yeah,
Mhm.
you know that. You know, the imports are the guys that at the end of the day, you need to make the difference, but you need guys to get you through your day to day, and that's your locals. And this team where I'm at, Csikszereda, has probably for example, on the Romanian national team, they have like 8 or 9 players that play on the Romanian national team. So they're a hotbed for hockey. They're a hotbed for raising young talent.
Romania's.
Yeah. So I like it because, I mean, you were there. You saw how many young kids I worked with, how many kids we worked with, because it wasn't just a coach. Listen, man, if nobody buys in, coach himself isn't going to develop these kids. They need everybody around them, to make sure these kids get what they need. The experience from a player.
Coaching matters, right? Coaching is very important, and who you get coming up is very important, right?
Yeah, it is. And Wally, it's important because the people you put around these kids are the ones that are going to influence them almost as much as the coach, because I wasn't sitting near Fabi Crew like you were, or Adriano Carciola or Fabio you were sitting beside him. Yeah. So when they were having trouble in between periods, it was you that was talking to them. You know what I mean? So you need to have the right veteran guys that can help these kids out if you want them to grow.
Yeah, I agree. And you need a good leadership core on any team. So you obviously have a good one then. You walked into a pretty decent situation. So what place were they in when you got there?
Second.
And they fired the coach? Hot water around there, eh?
Apparently the coach was having difficulties. I don't know the whole story behind it, nor do I care, because you know what? He got fired, I got hired. That's the nature of the
opportunities. Go fly. Yeah.
Because it's going to be my turn to get fired and someone else isn't going to care about it either.
Well, I tell you, the coaching world's a wild spot. I've had quite a few in my shed this last year and a bit. And listening to like the different situations that could have happened and where guys could have signed and gone. And it's all about when they're available. And it's more who your contacts are, right? And that's why I wanted to have you in the shed, is because you've coached only in Germany. Nobody in the UK really knows you probably. And I'm here to support you.
Yeah, you know what? I had some interviews. I did an interview last year with Glasgow, and it was very close, but they had decided to go with another guy. I've had some inquiries throughout the English league, but I've never really been picked up there, or really been. I don't know why, but I've been in Germany since '96.
Forever.
So
we're gonna have to get into all this. Yeah. We really have just been chatting. We haven't got into this, but one thing I wanted to bring up, your son's playing, eh?
He was, yeah. He's finished now, though. He had 2 years pro in Hamburg.
Okay, I saw that with the Crocodiles, eh?
That's right. Yeah,
and then he went and played junior in Toronto after, like, he did the minor hockey program in Mannheim, right? That always comes up. Like, that's quite the factory they got there, eh?
It was, and he did really good there. He was the leading scorer of the German league at 15. Then he moved his way up to the DNL, and played and won a championship there as a junior. And then he came over to back home. My family came back. It was time for everybody to go back home. And he played his juniors here and then went on to play 2 seasons pro in Hamburg.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. I remember he was just a little bugger, right? When I was in.
He was, yeah.
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 Because that's the season my son is born. And so you know what's funny?
Right.
I was thinking about how we know each other. And I guess when Lisa told me it was go time, well, I guess you're the first person that found out I was having a kid.
That's right, because you had to come tell me that you weren't going to be around.
I know. We had a Pokal game on the road, and we were literally a couple hours from leaving, and we would have been on the other side of Germany. And it was go time about 2-3 hours before the bus would have left to a Pokal game on the other side of Germany. And I called you, and I was always worried about missing games and giving up my spot in the lineup and power play, you know, because you never know when somebody shows up and does well, right? And I called you, I'm like, Rico, like I think I'm having a kid. So, and then you were like, dude, this is, I remember you said you gotta enjoy this. This is a once in a lifetime, or these are the days you remember in your life. And yeah, I remember that conversation. So there you go. And my internet sucks again. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
God.
It broke up a little bit, but I'm still here.
I know it's been a mess out here in the shed today. You know, just got to keep grinding away.
That's right, man. That's what we do. That's why we're hockey players, right?
That's right. That's right. Okay.
How old is your boy now?
So he's 9, going to be 10 in December. And to think, I guess that was around the last time we chat is when he's just born. And man, it's hectic times when you're having kids and trying to play hockey and living all over the world. It's traveling home and yeah, wild times.
You know what? It's a good thing for it. Honestly, my kids, my boy and my daughter still say to me, Dad, you know, it was difficult maybe for you thinking about us, but we got such a different perspective on life than the other kids in my class do. You know, this was before when they were in 8th grade or 10th grade and they just moved back here from Germany. They have a totally different perspective on just the daily things because they see them from a different perspective than the normal kid who's born and raised in Bolton. You know,
you're right. No, it's true because I feel like now that I've seen more things, there's certain things I look at differently, right?
That's exactly right, Wally. And that comes from your experiences as a hockey player.
Sometimes I wish there was more of the lunch hour shutdowns like there were in Europe where everything just shuts down and people are like, we're taking a break. Because around here, man, she's full go all the time.
Yeah. And Sundays, you remember there, you got to get your food on Saturday because Sundays, everything was closed, man.
You're not allowed to buy food on Sunday.
No, you're not allowed to cut your grass on Sundays, man.
No, take a break, sit down, right?
Enjoy your time with your family. Enjoy your time by yourself.
It's, yeah, what a concept. But it's all just full go here, you know?
Yeah.
Full go, but that's okay too. I like a full go. I don't like being bored. I have a hard time sitting down nowadays, which you probably wouldn't believe from back when you knew me. Okay. I got one more question before we get into your hockey career and everything. I always talk about it on here. You guys wouldn't buy me the good sticks. I'm in Bietigheim. I have the good sticks. Scored lots. I went to you guys and Ernst Roop told me when I got there, and I'm like, well, this is the curve I need. He's like, well, we'll get you the curve, but we're not getting you the top of the line. We're getting you the bottom of the line, P106. And he goes, because it's not the stick that makes the player. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And then I get this piece of shit. And the start of the season, I'd be wide open in front of the net and I'd go to bury it and it'd dribble the fuck in the corner. And I'd be so angry, like, buy me the sticks and I'll score. And then it was a sponsor at the end of the season. I don't know who he was or what his name was. He found out about how wound I was. And he bought me 6 top of the line sticks. And I went on a heater the last month. And then all of a sudden you probably thought about re-signing me, but at least I got another contract out of the deal. Those sticks sucked, and you can't win with them, Ernst. There you go. My rant's over. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. Oh no, now he's gonna freeze right when he was gonna come back. Shoot, there you there?
Yeah, I'm there now.
Okay.
Listen, it was all part of the grand plan, man, is to hold you back until playoffs.
Makes sense. Yeah, finish 7th, then play Schwinn again first round.
We would have won that if freaking Bilic doesn't go on the ice and take that stupid penalty when we were up 1-0.
You remember that?
4 minutes left. You remember that?
Oh,
because his brother took a clean hit.
Yeah. His brother took a normal body check in a playoff hockey game, and the younger brother, who was like 18, 19 years old, who didn't play a shift all game on our team, jumped over the bench and ran out on the ice and took a blatant penalty, and then they score in the power play, and that was what, game 1?
Yeah.
Oh, isn't it good to come out in the shed and air this out?
That made it 1-1, and then they scored in overtime because it was a 5-minute power play.
Yeah, and that's the start of the series when we had them, and that was a road game. That was at their barn. I still remember when he jumped over the boards. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? Oh, then that kid sat on the bus.
Yeah, I remember that, man.
Yeah.
You remember how I was with him after the game? Luigi Calci had to hold me back.
Well, that kid was like young, but like when you're a young kid on a team, what were you doing? What were you thinking? What was going through your head that you thought that was okay in any way to go protect Big Brother on the ice in a professional hockey game?
Yeah, and it's not like he went out there and kicked the shit out of the guy. He went out there and took a slap across the ears and fell down.
Yeah, and then all the guys that like were putting in ice time and like all season long, and the coach and everybody, the kid that didn't play all year jumped the bench and like lost the game for us. That's wild, eh?
Yep.
Huh. Never really talked about that one, but it's tough, right? Because then that kid sat staring down at the ground the whole way home, and it's like, well, I don't know what to say to you, dude, because like what happened just happened, and like I can't go over and like give you a hug.
Okay, but we got to win this. It's only game 1. We still got to come back to win, but we weren't favored to win that series anyways. They were 2nd, we were 7th.
They had a good team, man.
It was basically our chance to sneak a win and maybe go home and get a win at home, and now we're up 2.
Yeah, oh yeah, and they're
now it doesn't matter that we're 7th place anymore.
No, that was the and then like you could have still been the coach the next year. I could have still been an import, and everybody's life would be totally different. Isn't it wild?
It is crazy how
we wouldn't be out in the shed right now. I like, who knows what would have happened, but that was the most ridiculous penalty I've ever seen in a hockey game in my life.
I agree with you, and it cost us the series, maybe our jobs.
Well, that definitely did cost us our jobs, whether it was that penalty or not. You got fired and you fired me.
The shit rolls downhill, man.
Shit rolls downhill, and I get that, and I know what it's like in Germany. You don't do it, you don't do it. It's way more fun doing it. Okay, moving on. Growing up in Toronto, getting into hockey, to the Dixie Beehives, whatever that is.
That was it was called the Ontario Junior Hockey League then. It was a pretty good league, and they were the affiliates from my midget team, the Mississauga Reps. And my coach told me, he said, they're calling you up. Well, I only played 2 games for the Beehives. I got called up as a midget, and I played 2 games with them. And after the second game, I think it was, some of the older guys said, come on, we're going to go out. So I went out with them, and I was 16. They were 18, 19, but they got me in the bar, and I didn't come home right away. So my parents called the coach, said, hey, where's my son? I thought he was at a game with you guys. And then they ended up finding out that I'd gone out, so I never got called back up again.
But so you always just were into hockey right from a young punk, or what?
Yeah, really. I mean, my parents are immigrants from Italy. So when I was born and raised here, but my older brother, me and my sister were born and raised here, but my older brother is an immigrant from Italy. And they came over. When we came over, it was hard for my parents to really get into hockey. So they never really knew the sport as Italians. But I started playing at 7. I would have been playing at 4 if they'd have let me. But I started playing at 7 years old, and that was it. Just kept going.
Okay. So then, yeah, that is what happens. My parents weren't into hockey and they took me there, and then you take it from there, right?
Exactly.
So how'd you get to Northeastern University? Because that is a school that did recruit me. I went there for a visit. I've seen the barn. I've been there. How'd you get there? What an arena.
Yeah. So I started out my junior career with the Streetsville Derbies and played my rookie season there. And we made it to the All-Ontario semifinals, and we were playing against Henry Carr. And I had a good 7-game series. I was never, just look at my numbers. It wasn't like I was.
Am I supposed to know who Henry Carr is?
You don't know who Henry Carr? You should know who Henry Carr is. It was the biggest junior B program in the country.
Oh, that's where you went to play after. That was a team.
Yeah, after Streetsville. Yeah. Father Henry Carr was the name of the school. It was a Catholic school.
Research
and
team
they
saw
had
Henry
11
Carr.
The year that I lost to him. Yeah, the year I was playing for the Derbies, Streetsville Derbies, and we lost to Father Henry Carr in 7 games in the All-Ontario semifinals. They had 11 scholarships that year. 11 players got scholarships that year. On my team, 2 got scholarships. So at the end of the series, their coach, Dan Cameron, who's a great man, and Peter Miller, a great man, they said, hey, you want to come play here next year? Come see me at school, at the office. So I went and saw them, and I went to this school called Father Henry Carr, and took 2 years to get my scholarship. I got my scholarship in my last year. And it's actually a funny story how that happened too. There was a tournament at that time called the Father Bauer Cup. And it was for a priest called Father Bauer. And they would have a tournament, and they would invite the scouts, and 4 or 5 teams playing in round robins. I don't remember the format, but there was all the college scouts were there. And Northeastern came, and they saw another kid on my team that they wanted. So now I was stuck with nothing, and then they didn't really notice me. So my coach, Peter Miller, he called the school and said, please come take a look at this guy. Never mind this guy. Come look at this guy. Because he knew he could get the other guy a scholarship. But I didn't have a lot of choices. Again, I wasn't that star player. I was my role player. That's all I was. And they came back with the head coaching staff instead of their assistant coach. And they looked at me and they looked at the other guy and they said, which guy are we getting? They said, you're getting the big guy. And they said, we want the little guy. And he said, and my coach arranged for the other guy to go to Providence and me to get a scholarship at Northeastern.
Isn't it crazy how different it worked back in the day before the internet and all the other stuff compared to nowadays, and video and everything?
Yeah, I would have never got a scholarship if we went through the way it goes now. No chance, Wally. No chance.
No.
Back then, they couldn't scout a lot. They had to trust the coaches that they were referring them to.
Well, speaking of, okay. This is how our story starts, though, Rico. This is how it starts to you getting in my shed, though, was I remember this. You probably don't, but my very first year in Germany, I have a pretty average regular season, like a point a game. And the playoffs start, and Landshut's had me in a fat club, got me working out nonstop, no days off. Yeah, wild times. So then the first round, we put out Bietigheim, and I couldn't believe it. You're allowed to sign with anybody at any time. So we put out Bietigheim. They offer me a contract. Bietigheim offers me right after we put them out. And then we play you guys, and we were shaking hands after the series. And you said, whatever, if you ever want a job, let me know. And I had seen the coach for Bietigheim. I saw the way he behaved and the way he coached. I did not want to go play for him, and I didn't want to go July 1st. And I said to my agent, I was like, I want to play for that guy, not that guy. But then, money talks, and I had a great time in Bietigheim, and I met all my best buddies there. But that is how it started. We played you in a series, and we were shaking hands, and you said, you ever want a job, let me know. And I said, I do. That's
how I got recruited from one place to another. So I kept that in my bag, my friend.
Well,
I kept that
technique
in my bag.
Well, it works, it works. Especially when you see the way the other guy was screaming at everybody. You're like, well, those guys are like just playing.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, I did my fair share of screaming too.
You did, but it was
never the calmest guy.
But it was all, it was good natured. It was passion, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would tend to agree with that. Some people will say maybe, if you watch, especially now you watch the NHL coach, not that I'm comparing myself to an NHL coach, because I'm not even coaching the same sport as those guys are working. That's for sure. They're way, way at another level. But they just stand and they controlled. Man, this game was way too exciting for me to just stand there and pretend I'm in control. I just can't.
You should see me in under 11. I don't really yell. I don't yell at refs, but like I feel like I just say some good little one-liners, or just like look at them like, you fucked up, but like I don't yell, but like at my players, to get them to come to the bench or whatever, like passion consumes you as a coach, doesn't it?
It's really tough to not, especially.
You don't get to go skate around and hit anybody, right? Like you gotta.
It's fun, man. I love it.
Speaking of, I got really good at pregame speeches. You wouldn't know about this, but in Cardiff, I was really good at them when I was injured, couldn't play. And then with my under 11s, I feel like my pregame speeches are high end. And you know what? Our first get together team meeting with the Heilbronner Falkens, we had signed a very good team. Your first speech to the team, I still remember, like I had like goosebumps, and I was like, I'm ready to do anything. And pregame speeches matter, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key is that what you're saying is coming across as honest, because if you're bullshitting, Wally, your players aren't stupid. They're going to figure you out in a heartbeat, man. Maybe not the first game, maybe not the first week, but they're going to figure out that you're bullshitting, and then you're fucked.
And that's why I had to get Chris Menard Min Pro training to like do the conditioning, the off ice stuff, because if I'm the one telling them how far to run or jump, they're going to see through that shit all day, even when they're 10.
Right. That's right. Especially when they're 10, because they still see the world very, very, very honestly.
Oh, they do. They say it honestly. Yeah, they'll let you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So you went to Northeastern, and yeah, players are better now. American players are better now, right? Tough for the old Canadian kids these days. But you go to Northeastern for 4 years and you do well. So the reason I didn't go to Northeastern, it was too big of a city for me. I went to a recruiting trip, and there was just too much action. But you're from the city, so it wouldn't have phased you, eh?
Yeah, actually, that was, again, I didn't have a lot. I went to Ferris State on a recruiting trip, and Northeastern, and there was just simply not that Ferris State offered me anything, by the way. After the mess that we made there, drinking, they pretty much said, well, we don't want these kids anymore. That was why I couldn't go to a school like that. No way could I go to a school like that. It's just too small for me. At that time, I needed to be where I could disappear and nobody would find me, and no one would ask where I was either. You know? So that school suited me perfect. I had the good fortune of playing for two original 6 hockey players in Fern Flamin and Don McKenney. Great men. They really helped me a lot in a lot of things, because I wasn't an easy youth at 19, 20. I did, I wasn't an easy youth. Let's just put it that way. And they always took the time to give me the benefit of the doubt and help me out. I'm very, very grateful to them. Well,
it looks like you had a solid career there. You were like almost a point a game every year in college. That's a hell of a career.
Yeah, I got lucky in my first year. They paired me with 2 seniors, Jay Heinbuck and Stu Emerson. Great guys, by the way. And they were skilled players senior years. And again, I always was a role player. I could just do my job, and I did it pretty well, without trying to act like a big shot, because I'm not. But I did my job well. I knew how to do it. I knew why they wanted me to play with the top line center, because I did the things that the other guys didn't want to do. So the center loved having a guy like me on that line.
Do you want your player review now? I haven't done one in a while. I used to do player reviews for everyone, and then based on their personality. I've never seen you play, but I used to say I could give player reviews based on the way people chat and their personality. Do you want me to give you yours now?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Okay. If your team's a championship team, you're probably a third line winger, just grinding it, mucking it up, showing everybody how hard to work. If your team's pretty good, you're on the first, second line, and you're the guy, you're the Zach Hyman of the line, but not big enough, not strong enough. You're little fiery. And if someone pisses you off, you're going to two-hand him in the back of the legs. You might even spear him, but you're going to be going to the net. You're going to be blocking shots, and you're going to be finishing every check, and you're a fast little bugger. How'd I do?
You did almost perfect, except for the last part. I wasn't that fast.
Shoot.
But you hit it pretty good, Wally. You did it pretty good, man. I knew what my strengths were, and I knew how to play to them. And I knew that if I did what I could do, then I'd be valuable to a team somewhere.
Yeah, no, those are valuable players. The guys that'll do more.
Yeah, it's hard
the
to
guys
get
that'll
players
work
to accept
harder and do
that,
more and do things people won't. Those are the valuable ones.
Yeah, it's hard to get players to accept that. You know, your job as a grinder or as a corner man, as a net guy is important, and we need you to do it well.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be that finisher. Well, not everybody's a finisher. Not everybody's Wally. Standing around on the outside and rip that puck to the top corner like you did.
I'm still upset you put me in the middle of the power play. You made me the bumper guy in the middle. I was never that guy. Yeah. I need to touch the puck more. You got to let me move around and do things, you know?
Who did I have on the right side then? Why didn't I have
you had Cappy, you had Michelle Levelet and Michael Hackard on the left side, and they're running the overload down low, and I'm the guy in the slot trigger man with my shitty sticks that you don't know where you're shooting it.
Well, never a good carpenter never blames his fucking hammer.
Well, you don't give the good carpenters the bad hammers. They have the good ones. That's why they're good. Bietigheim, I do actually remember Bietigheim would buy me sticks they wouldn't buy the other guys. So maybe they were on to something there.
You guys did pretty good that year, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, we won once, and then we were brutal for like 3 years, right? Yeah. Anyways, okay, moving on though. So I'm guessing you're a great college player. You're a little bugger buzzing around, working hard like college players are. And then pro, you're not quite big enough to really attract anything too wild, but Italian passport, right? Yeah. So you knew about that? Who helped you know about that? And how do you get connected to Milano?
Well, this is listen, man, my life has had a couple of stories that just changed the direction of it, especially when it comes to sports.
Like Village.
So here I am at Northeastern, just finished my senior year. But Northeastern is a co-op school. So you have 5 years instead of just 4.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another story too, right? But so I finished my senior year, and I'm working at the university for the summer. And I'm figuring I'm going to go try out in the coast. The coast had just started up. This was 89. So I think the East Coast, it might have been like the first or second year the East Coast was actually around. You'd have to check the stats on that. I'm not sure the year, but it was very close to the start of the East Coast Hockey League. I figured I'd go there and try out. So I'm sitting in the office one day, and my boss, who was a hockey booster fan at Northeastern, I was working in the registrar at the university. She says, hey, Frankie Cheeseburger. That's what we used to call him, Frankie Cheeseburger. He's a big set man who was always around the team. Great guy, Frankie Cheeseburger. He calls up and says, hey, Rico, can you get an Italian passport? I says, I don't know why. He says, if you get an Italian passport, I can get you a job. I says, doing what? He says, Italy, playing hockey. I says, I don't believe you. I says, send me the contract offer. So literally, Wally, 10 minutes in the fax, because back then it was done with fax because there wasn't emails yet. I don't think there was emails in 89.
It would have been hard for teams to recruit and lock down guys with fax machines and shit. Eh?
Yeah, yeah. So he says, you get a passport, I get your job. He faxes me a 3-year deal signed by the club, all the figures on it. All it's doing is waiting for the player to sign it. They don't care as long as there's a stipulation, has to have an Italian passport. So I said, holy fuck, hold on a second. Let me call my dad. So I'm in Boston. I call my dad back home in Toronto. And I says, hey, Dad, can I get an Italian passport? He says, well, what do you want to know for? I said, well, just tell me, can I get an Italian passport? He says, no, I'm not going to tell you until you tell me what you want to know for. Because my dad wanted me to finish school. If anything else, just make sure you graduate. That's the most important thing in the world, because nobody from our families did that kind of stuff as immigrants. Now he'd have a son that graduated university. You know what I mean?
And Northeastern is a smart
two,
person school. Yeah.
It wasn't then. Back then, they used to yell at us safety school when we were playing against BC or BU. But not now. It's a really top school.
Yeah.
But anyways, my dad says, yeah, I get on a bus. I go home from Boston to Toronto. I get my passport. I come back, sign a contract in Italy for 3 years, in Milan for 3 years, Wally. They'd never seen me play a game.
They'd never seen you play a game, and you're what, 23 years old?
23.
Signed 3-year deal in Milan.
Hello, where do I sign?
So how long does it take to get the passport?
Dude, normally, that's another story. Normally it takes forever, right? But my dad, being the Italian immigrant he is, once he got on board with this idea, because he didn't really want me to go, because he said, you're not going to come back and finish your school. You're not going to graduate. And he said, you can't trust the Italians. I know, I'm Italian. Trust me, you can't trust them. I says, Dad, just let's get the passport. So I come home. We go to the Italian consulate. This is classic, Wally. This is like out of a movie, eh? He goes in there. We got a bag of stuff, Wally. We got a couple of bottles of wine. We got 2 or 3 pieces of prosciutto. And we got 2 or 3 blocks of homemade Parmesan cheese. I said, Dad, what do you do? We're not going on a picnic. He says, don't worry about it. When we get in there, you don't talk. You let me talk. Go in there. Yeah, my son. Oh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. Out of the bag comes a bottle of wine. Go to the next floor. We go up a floor. Oh, my son needs this passport. No, we can't do that. Out comes a box of prosciutto. We went from room to room, Wally. We gave out 2 bottles of wine, 2 things of prosciutto, and 2 blocks of cheese, and I had my passport stamped in 3 hours. That's a true story, my friend.
That's the shit you love to hear in the shed, right? Things used to happen differently. There used to be fax machines, and it was
exactly
different.
These are things you couldn't do no more, right? Now they see an Italian immigrant walking in, they say, you get to the back of the line. Back then, everybody was an immigrant. My dad was one of them,
No, but the prosciutto and the Parmesan cheese, you had me there, and the wine, man. Yeah. Moving over to Germany, and then the bottles of wine were like €3, and they're like really good bottles of wine, and you're like, where am I living?
It's a joke now, man, what a bottle of wine costs here compared to there.
So your family all moved home then, you said. I skipped over this because we've just been chatting, but your family all moved home at a certain point and then wasn't with you anymore. That would have been hard.
Yeah, it still is hard. That was 2015. My family moved back over here because my kids were now going to get into, I wanted my boy to play juniors here and try to get a scholarship. And I wanted my daughter back in high school so she could live her high school years here. So that was 2015 when they came here, and then I just stayed and worked. And I still, to this day, we're still doing that now.
Their life would have been all over there though before, right? Like their school life.
Born and raised there. Yeah. Went to school there, speak fluent Germany, both kids, fluent German, both kids. So,
how's the switch into English school then?
It wasn't hard because we spoke English at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they still, and the first 3 years or 4 years of school, they went to a bilingual school, and then they switched over to a German school.
Okay. Hey, what's that shirt? What's that shirt say you got there? What is that? Is that your team shirt? What does that say? Liqui Moly? Huh?
Liquid Moly. That's a sponsor from an old team. One of my old teams.
The only reason I think of that, and I'm starting to realize how fashionable I am. is this winter my warmest jacket, and the one I wore all winter was my Heilbronner Falkens jacket. I still wear it.
You see, I sent you a picture of it with with the Falcon on it behind the
I
bench.
saw
I
it.
sent
That's a
purposely
warm
that one.
jacket, man. Like that's
I sent that one purposely to you.
dude, and I still wear the jacket all the time. And when I posted a picture the one day, David Danner wrote, "God, you're still wearing that jacket? Fantastic jackets. Well done,
Yeah,
Intersport," or whoever made them.
Yeah, that's right. It was them too. You got it right.
See, gosh, I got it all. Okay, good memory now that I came out to my shed. I had forgot about my whole hockey career for like 5 years. Now I remember everything. Isn't that weird? Okay, so your first year, you get to Milano. Okay, back on track. I think your first year in Europe is the most important as an import or as a pass guy. For me, in Landshut, I was average. I don't think anybody was doing much for me until the playoffs when both teams I played wanted me. And that's what made my first season like, okay, I'm here, I'm good. Your first season in Milano, 57 points and 41 games played, and they'd never seen you play, eh? They must have been happy.
Yeah, I think they were. I was, again, very fortunate to play with good players, though, Wally, because those good players always told the coach, hey, put that donkey with us because I know he's going to go in where I don't want to go. And I was fortunate enough that year. I got to play with two guys, two Russians. And if you research their names, Boris Alexandrov and Slava Anasin, they both played in the Canada Cup series, in 72.
Holy shit.
So these guys were like 39, 40 years old, and I was 23-year-old.
Right.
And they put me with them. And the one centerman was fantastic. Hey, Wally, you should have saw this guy. He'd be smoking cigarettes in between periods in the bathroom. That's how routine he was. And the other guy, Boris, unfortunately passed away, Boris Alexandrov, but he would score goals. And at one point or another, I got kind of frustrated and said, hey, like, you got to come back a little bit, man. I can't do everything. I can't play defense too by myself. He says and looks at me straight faced while he says, Boris don't play defense, Boris score goals.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's what he did.
They do that though. I'll never forget my first season in the second league in Germany. There was that team, Essen Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
They had a player that literally scored 30 or 40 more points than anybody else in the league, that Bartek guy. And I remember we'd play against him and he literally wouldn't care if his team got scored on. He didn't give a shit.
First guy on the bench, not worried about it.
Like literally, it would show everybody, the fans, the players, I don't care. I'm going to still go out and score my goals. And that's all he cared about.
And they loved him for it.
How?
Because Wally, it's a different mentality, especially with the imports there, eh? Imports are there to put up numbers. That's it.
I know.
You know that. You were an import.
Well, I know that.
You didn't have enough numbers.
No, it's because we lost. And you got fired. Shit rolls downhill.
Did I get fired 13? No, I got fired 14, didn't I?
Well, you were the guy hiring the new coach and the new players for the new coach. Right. And you're like, well, I'm not going to hire the players that
fucking promoted.
I know I got you fired.
I didn't get fired. I got promoted.
Sorry, GM. You're GM. You were allowed to give them the good sticks the next year.
That's right.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, you didn't get fired. You got to pick the coach and the players. So I guess that's not getting fired.
It's getting a promotion.
Yeah. Who wants to do that though? You'd rather coach, right?
I would. You're right.
Yeah, I know.
You're right.
Okay. So your first year, you did really good. Way to go. The second year, you guys win it all.
Yep.
So what's that like?
Year.
How does that go?
I'll tell you what, that was one of the obviously the highlights of my career as a player was winning that championship, because you're winning it in a big city. They had built a brand new rink, Wally, 10,000 seat arena. There's 10,000 people in this barn every night watching these games. We had many Reed Larson. I know you're a little younger than me. I don't know if you remember that name, but Reed Larson was the first American-born player to, I think, play in the NHL. He had the hardest slap shot in the NHL at one time or another. But we had NHLers like him, Ron Flockhart, Mark Johnson that won the 1980 Lake Placid gold medal. He was on our team. So there were some really big players on the team. And the other teams had players like that too. So it was really good hockey. And it was just so much fun to play in front of those seats. And the group of guys was fantastic. After every game in this building, now you got to think we got a nice 10,000 seat arena, brand new. After the games, we'd sit in that rink down in the lobby, and they'd just feed us and drink us whatever we wanted all night. It was, and the wives, everybody involved. It was fantastic.
Jeez.
And then when we won, we went down to the Duomo in Milan, which is the big church in Milan, huge church. And that's where all the teams, when they win a championship. As a matter of fact, AC Milan just won the Italian Serie A soccer league. If you get any videos on YouTube, you'll see where they go is exactly where we went, because all the Milan teams, when they win a championship, they go to this particular spot by the Duomo. So that was a fantastic year. And what a city. Well,
I went there. Yeah.
You were in Milan?
Yeah. Like we went just a vacation for like a day or two, but yeah.
I'm telling you, dude, I came out of college. Okay. I went from living in Toronto to going to school in downtown Boston, because Northeastern's campus is right downtown.
Right downtown.
It's like
right, way too much for a farm boy like me, which I'm not a farmer. I live right by the farms.
Yeah, and then to Milan in my first pro season. That was perfect.
And then you ran amok, just dominated with your Russian fellas.
We did. It was great.
No, and then you're established, right? Then you're established. Like after that season, you're like, yeah, I'm a player. And then the next year you win it.
Absolutely. You know how it is. You have one good year, it goes a long way.
Yeah, it can, right? Because then they see what you can do, and then you win the championship, and winning is important.
Absolutely. It's why you play the game, right?
It is. And coach and do all
and making money. Don't forget about that.
Well, that's fun too. And living in Europe's fun too, isn't it?
It is. Living in Europe's a lot of fun. It's a different world. I'm used to it now. I said this to my wife the other day. I've lived longer in Europe than I have in North America now.
That's wild. You know what that means though? If you're like, I talk about this as the players too, is players, the guys that are the best dudes and the guys that like are the best teammates and the guys that don't hardly have many issues are the guys that stay on teams the longest. And you look at a lot of coaches, there ain't many coaches with resumes like yours. You were in Heilbronn for 10 years. You were every place for multiple years, and everywhere you went, they bought into what you were doing. And you know what? I did too. And yeah. So way to go.
I appreciate that, Wally. I appreciate that. And you're right. You're right. Sometimes you got to be good. Sometimes you got to be lucky. But I think at the end of the day, you got to be honest. If you're not honest, you don't stay 10 years in one spot, 5 years in another spot.
No, you don't.
Sooner or later, people are going to catch on to your bullshit if you're bullshitting.
I agree. Okay. So you went there for 2 years and you win it, whatever. Then do you go back to the Dallas Freeze for a year? Because you think you could still make it. And you're like, I got to go try.
No, because I was ready to quit hockey because Milan folded.
Oh, yeah. And after the 10,000 people in the arena, is it because they were signing the NHL guys that were too much money?
That's because everything works a little bit funny. Let's just say a little bit funny over there.
Yeah.
It works a little bit funny. Not that I had any problem with it, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they folded, and I wasn't gonna go play on a farm on a mountain town. Not me. It just I wouldn't have survived there. So I said one of my teammates, Ron Flockhart, ex-NHLer, longtime NHLer, he took the team in Dallas, said, come with me to Dallas, got my wife, and we went to Dallas.
Oh, so just like that. So you wouldn't be a mountain guy, which is like the ski places and like, see, I think that would be more me than the big city.
That would be more you. It would be a lot less me, though.
Yeah. Yeah. So then you go to Dallas and you play with Crypto Pat Curcio.
I did. I drove Patty. Listen, me and Patty, I just bought my 1988 GMC Jimmy. I got it painted, got it out of the paint shop, Wally, at 9 a.m, picked up fucking Fatty Patty, got in the car and drove to Dallas. 25 hours, me and him.
Fatty Pat.
Well, he was a fat kid at the time. He's not no more. And he's a great kid. I fucking love Patty, man.
Oh.
He was my boy. I took care of him. He was 18, 19. I was 26, 27. I had a wife. I took care of that kid like he was my son, man.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. No, he seems like a great guy. He's came to the shed twice now. Great guy. I didn't know him.
Great guy. He grew up down the road from me, man.
It's a small world when you come out to your shed and you start talking around, man.
It really is. It really is.
He sent me $10 in crypto. It's the only $10 I've ever owned in crypto. I don't know anything. He explained it to me, but he's got the locker token thing going on. So if people want to check that out, check it out. You probably heard of it, right?
What's that?
His locker token thing where he's trying to do this crypto with the hockey teams and everything.
No.
Oh, it's he's into her. Okay. Locker token. Check it out, folks. He sent me $10 in crypto with his episode with a Monty. Okay. I got a question for you then. So the Dallas Freeze, that was fine. Whatever. You went there, played. Then you wanted to go back.
Yeah. And then Milan started up again. So I went back to Milan.
Because that's more fun.
Well, more money. Frick, you're
Right.
making $375 a week in Dallas before taxes. Coming up making 60, 70 US tax free, and now you got to make for $375 a week. And you got to fight big kids. They're not scared of me no more like they were in college.
No. Yeah. You don't have to do that in Europe.
No. I tell you what, yeah, I had to do it in Dallas, and I didn't really want to, but I remember one time, kid from BU, can't remember his name. I think it was Shaughnessy maybe. Lined up one game against me, and he's a defenseman. He comes up and he moves his winger out of the way. Says, I got this. And the winger goes to that, and I look at him. Says, what do you got? He says, you don't remember me, do you? He says, no, why should I remember you? He says, because you busted my balls for 4 years at college. I was at Boston University. You were at Northeastern. And now I'm going to kick the shit out of you. And this kid's 6'5" now. I got him when he was young. You know, he was 18, he was 6'5", but still growing into his legs. You remember those kids that were so big that they really weren't well on their feet yet?
And you could really, you could really hit those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, you could hurt those guys, right?
Yeah.
And you look good as a little guy hitting those guys, right?
Oh, it looked great. Fans loved it.
Oh, fantastic. Fans loved it. Blew them up. And then now this kid says, I remembered all that shit. And you're dead. And he dropped his gloves right off the face-off. Lucky, I had my tough guy on the fence, and he came charging in for me and got me out of that one. So
I had a few of those situations through my career too. Big guy can help me out. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. So anything else about Dallas before we go back to Milan?
Don't get me started on Dallas, my friend. There's too many stories. You're gonna have to put on a nightlight for the shed.
Well, that's the thing is there's the things you can ask and the things you can research. There's enough to talk about, especially when you've been in the hockey game since basically you were 7. You never got out. I got out for 5 years. I have 5 years. I don't really have anything to talk about.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate, I gotta say.
Well, it's because you do a good job, sir.
Thanks.
Okay, here we go. 94, 95. So you go back after the year in Dallas. You got 2 more in Milan. So you're still a young puppy. Why do you stop playing and get into coaching so young?
That's injuries. I took a back injury in Dallas. If you check my stats in Dallas, I think I only played 37, 38 games out of a 60-game schedule. I blew my back out, herniated some discs. And back then it wasn't so easy like it is now. Now a herniated disc, it's a little cut like this, you're back in the lineup in 4 weeks. Back then, it wasn't that kind of operation. So I chose not to have an operation. I did 12 weeks of rehab and managed to play into the playoffs. But you know what? After I got back to Milan and played 2 years in Milan, it was getting hard to put my fucking socks on every morning, man. So it was, they gave me the option, Milan. They said, you've been here a long time. We want you to move into the coaching ranks. So I took it.
So is this like they offered you're a player, you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
And they're offering you the head coaching job?
No, assistant coaching job.
Research team didn't see that. Said you're the coach.
Yeah, I started out as assistant coach and I got the head coaching job December that same year. And that's another story.
Holy moly. Yeah, of course I do. The shit's got time for everybody and every story. Hey, but you were the assistant coach to start, and then you just get your chance and then take it from there.
Yeah. But let me tell you how I got my chance.
I got one question before you tell me you're
coaching.
Tell me, I got one more question. Going from player to assistant coach.
What?
Was it a pay cut? Player to assistant coach. Was that a pay cut?
No, I still had an existing contract, and they said to me, we'll let you coach for the same amount of money. I said, okay.
And then you don't have to hurt so much.
Yeah, I wasn't going to be able to play no more. And they said, look, we'll just be the assistant coach then. We still have you under contract. We'll let you be the assistant coach. You might have to play if we need you, but otherwise you can be the assistant coach. I said, okay.
Okay, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready for the story.
So I started out as assistant coach. We're 8-1, and we're going up to play against Bolzano, which is a mountain team 4 hours away, who's 9-0. So this is for first place. So all our rich money people are already up in the mountain town doing their mountain resorts or whatever they're doing, spa, skiing, whatever they're doing. And we're about to head up there. We get literally one intersection away from the rink in Milan, and we get hit by a Jeep drunk driver into the side of the bus, crashes the bus, smashes up everything. He's hanging out of the car. The helicopter's got to fly to get this guy out of the car. So really, really traumatic scene, blood and glass everywhere. Luckily, obviously on the bus, nobody's hurt, but this Jeep is wedged to inside where the hockey bags are. So we go back inside the dressing room. The players are pretty shaken up, and they don't want to go to the game no more because we got a 4-hour trip through the mountains. Nobody wants to go no more. So the coach says, all the owners call and say, okay, look, we understand. They're going to delay the game for us. We're going to send another bus and let's get ready. They're going to delay the game. And the player said, no, we don't want to go. We're nervous. We don't want to get on the bus. So the coach sided with them and said, no, we're not going to come. So the owner said, who's deciding that? And the coach said, I am. And he said, okay, you and your assistant coach, this is Saturday night, because you played Saturday night in Italy. Sunday, you and the assistant coach come to my house, my private house. And then Sunday in Italy, there's two things: church and soccer. That's it. There's no meetings on a Sunday. So we went to this guy's house, rich millionaire Italian guy, and we drove together. And I said, hey, what do you think's going to happen to you? He says, don't worry about it. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. He'd been in Italy. He's a Canadian guy. He's been in Italy for many, many, many years. Was a star in Italy and a great person too. Comes out, he says, get your own ride home. So I go into the meeting now. And he says, hey, we just fired him and we want you to be the head coach. I said, what are you talking about? You fired him. He says, yeah, he decided not to come. We're firing him. He said, listen, I would have did the same thing he did. He said, then we would have fired you, but you're not the head coach. You're the assistant coach. You just had to do what you were told. So do you want the job or not? And I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to take the job. What am I going to do, Wally? They're going to give it to somebody else if they don't give it to me.
Yeah, so they are. Yeah, they are.
That's how I got my start in coaching, man.
That's how you got into the whole thing. That's how this all plays out.
It's a fucking joke, dude.
So it's like Brody DuPont with the Cardiff Devils this season. He's a player at the start of the year. He gets injured. The coach gets fired with 2 games left in the season. And he went from player assistant coach to assistant coach to the head coach to winning the playoffs. And now he's the head coach.
That's a fantastic story. That's a fantastic story.
Right. And like, you're still in the game. You're about to head over to Romania. And like, wow.
That was 96, 95. That was 95, 96. That's like 27 years ago, man.
Jeez. Huh. Yeah. Wild times, eh? Isn't it fun talking about all this shit?
It is. You know, I just don't think anybody really wants to hear my stories. I know my kids don't want to hear them anymore.
That's why you got to come out to the shed to talk about it, because there are people that will listen to us. I promise.
It makes me feel like a somebody again.
Yeah, I want to hear them. Okay. Anyways, so you get the job. You're the head coach. How's the start going?
Oof. You know what?
Is that the end of a season, or you're mid-season?
No.
They crashed in
This is December 23rd, dude.
Okay,
It's
so
right around Christmas.
So next questions then. How's the team next time's getting on the bus? Like, was it only one time? Like, because you got to get back on the horse, right?
Yeah, you know what? The boys move on. You know how hockey players on. That incident was very traumatic. I got to be honest. The guy was hanging out of the car, Wally. There was blood. They had to get the jaws of life. The helicopter flew in on the road. It was certainly traumatic. But they have to go back and play. That's what we do, right? So then I took over, and we made it to the finals that year, and ended up losing to that team, Bolzano, in the finals. And after the game was over, the ownership came in and said, "We'd like you to sign on again for next year." And there you go. And I've been coaching since then.
Yeah. Okay.
They fired me right away. They fired me on December 24th, the following season. December 24th.
Christmas Eve.
They fired me.
And you still remember that Christmas Eve.
Merry fucking Christmas.
Yeah. And you're just into coaching. You're young, right? You're fresh. So you're probably thinking, how am I even going to get another job? Like, I'm just new into this, right?
Exactly.
So then how do you get to Duisburg then? And so you get fired at Christmas. You're going to get paid for the rest of the season, but you got those months to try and find another job. Is that where we're at? Is my internet still shit? Because gosh darn it. There you are. Hi.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So I get fired that year, and I said, okay, my wife's just left her job at Toronto Dominion Bank, but she can get back into Toronto Dominion. I said, before I took the coaching job, I was working at UPS. So I said, you know what? I'll go back. Let's go. Let's call it a career. We had a great time. We got to enjoy ourselves. Let's go back home and live a normal life instead of this hockey stuff. Yeah. So I called my old junior coach, the one that took me, that I told you earlier about, Peter Miller. And I said, hey, coach, you know, I want to come back. Let me work some hockey schools until I find my way. He says, no problem. But hold on. I got something maybe. He finds me the job in Germany. And that's how I got stuck. That's how I got started in Germany.
And it was the guy you knew from where?
It was my junior coach. That you remember when I told you I was shaking hands at the end of the series, and I went to Father Henry Carr. It was that same coach that I called, because I used to work the hockey schools with him in the summer, and said, hey, I'm coming back. I need to work. And he said, I got you. Hold on. And he found me another job. January 6th, I started in Germany.
You know, there's shit that rolls downhill, but then there's also what goes around comes around, and it all works out in the wash. And if you're just a good person, shit works out, right?
You're so fucking right, Wally. It's unbelievable how many of these things just happen, because I don't know actually why they happen, but they happen because like you said, if you're an honest person, you do the right things happen.
Yeah. Fun stuff happens for sure. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, man, we're going to be here a long time if we go through all this shit. Oh, so you just get to, I don't know, it's 10.
10 o'clock.
Geez, do you have to go to bed early tonight? What do you got going on?
Listen, at my age, man, I'm already way past my bedtime.
Oh, the memory's going to start fading again too. Shoot. Okay, then here we go.
I could
Deuce.
use another glass of wine, man.
Yeah, you're gonna need one more for sure. Duisburg, 3 years, third league, eh? So you got the job in the third league. So what's it like?
Yeah.
You get over there, you got to have your natives, the Germans, that keep your team afloat, but you're pretty good budget in Duisburg, aren't you?
Yeah, we were a good team. We were a good team. We had good players. That's where I had guys like Frank Petroza. You know,
And he came with you forever. He came to
he
Heilbronn.
came with me to Heilbronn. Well, if you look at a lot of my teams, Wally,
Number 8,
always see
right-handed shot.
Eh?
Number 8, right-handed shot.
Exactly. And if you look at my teams, you'll always see 1 or 2 players that I'll bring with me. If that guy was the guy, and he doesn't have to be the best player, but he has to be a good person. If he's a good person and can play the game, they'll take them with me because I know what I get.
Adriano Carciola.
Example. Fabio Carciola. Example.
Marco Mueller.
Marco Mueller. Example.
Corey
Great
Mapes.
people.
Corey Mapes.
Corey Mapes brought him to Castle with great people, man.
I know.
People.
I know.
Great people. So
I know. I know. Good idea. Bring good people. Good people win stuff, right?
yeah. It's a secret to doing things is surround yourself with good people. People that know what they're doing, but they have to be good people.
Yes. And that's in any part of life, right? Anything you're doing. Okay. Anyways, 3 years at Duisburg. So yeah, you guys were good. So that I had written down getting the job ? So that's that guy. So then you get there. Is it a 1-year deal, 3-year deal? Because coaches can get gassed in Germany, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter. You got a 1-year deal, a 3-year deal. They gas you in a heartbeat. I almost exclusively worked, and believe this or not, my 26 years there, almost exclusively on 1-year deals.
Guess what? My whole hockey career, I was a 1-year deal guy.
Yeah, I was never concerned. You know what? You don't like what I do, I'll do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it didn't bother me.
You were 1-year deals the whole time?
I had in Castle, I had a longer term deal. After my first year, then I had a couple of long-term deals, 2 and 3-year deals.
Okay. Well, no, those would be exciting. I never got any as a player. Every year was pretty intense.
Hey, Wally, it's changed now. Hey, the imports now are asking for 2-year deals and getting them.
But there's so many of them. Why are they getting them? I don't understand.
I wouldn't do it.
Why would you? You don't even know them.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I don't care what you did last year. You didn't do nothing for me yet.
Right. And I don't know you as a person, and I don't know anything about you. So why would I give you 2 years when I don't even know you? That's what happened though at Bietigheim was they brought in a new coach. The other imports were all on 2-year deals. And they're like, well, the coach is like, well, if I'm changing anything, it's the guy at a 1-year deal. And so smell ya.
Take a mathematician to figure that one out.
Yeah. Got to change something around here. But anyways, okay, here we go. Duisburg, 3 years, good time. So what's it like with ownership and stuff? Because this is one of my questions. In Germany, the owners, the managers, the fans, they can get involved, right?
Absolutely.
What's it like in Duisburg? Is there owners that are rich that are telling you what to do, or are you just doing whatever you want, running amok?
No. When I first got there, also got there at one point during the season, I think it was December, when I first took Duisburg, I was coming to the locker room in between periods, and I saw the owner walking down the other way. So we're both walking like this to turn into the dressing room. And he was before me. So I kind of sped up a bit. I said, where you, and I stopped him. I said, where are you going? No, in German, we can't play like that. I'm going to go tell these guys they're not going to get paid if they play like this. And I said, you can not pay anybody. It's your money. I don't care, but you're not going to the dressing room. That's my dressing room. Maybe it's your dressing room. I pay you too. I said, yeah, but you pay me to run the dressing room, right? That's what you pay me. Why do you pay me? You pay me to take control of that. trust me that I could do this. And he didn't know what to say when I said, trust me to do this, because that's what you pay me for. He didn't know what to say. I guess no one ever told him that he can't do that. Everyone just let him do it, right?
Just let him go
So
do it.
He let me do it, and I stayed there 3 years, and I still talk to that man.
So he stayed out and then you went in and did your thing. Because if he goes in and starts doing that, it changes everything you're trying to do with everybody, right? As a coach, if somebody went into my under 11 team and started saying a whole bunch of stuff I didn't want them to say, it's like the parents on the way home. If you're not saying the same message as I'm saying, then we're all screwed here. So you guys all better be on board that we're a family and we don't say anything negative about anybody, and we're all a team and we're going to figure this out, you know?
Yeah, because if you're not all on the same page, those kids, just like our kids, when mom says one thing and dad says the other thing, and the kid comes and says, well, mom said I could do that. Now you're fucked.
Totally. Yeah. But that guy goes in and starts threatening players. Happy hockey players play hockey better, right?
Yeah. Listen, that's the whole thing, and not just hockey. It's like that in any business that's getting run now, Wally? But don't forget, we're talking back now about 97, 98, years like that, where the mentality was still, you're the worker, I'm the boss, you work, I tell you what to do. And it's just not like that. You can't coach like that. You can't run a business like that no more.
No, you can't. No, it's all different. You need people to enjoy what they're doing and feel respected and valued, right?
Yeah. Listen, a person who's happy at his job will give you that extra bit. A person who's not will just give you what you ask for and nothing more.
Yes, they will not go the extra mile. Yes.
No.
Seems like we're on the same page with that again. Okay. So 3 years of Duisburg. So you did your thing. You guys had a good team. Get close to winning it all.
Yeah. Made it to the finals.
That sucks losing, eh?
Yeah, it does. It really does.
I know. Okay. So after that, those years, you start a season with Bayreuth for a season in the German third league, but then you go back to Duisburg in the second league. So how did they get promoted?
Well, so the year I was there, we lost in the finals. And then I think it was the year after, the following year, or the same year that I left after, someone went bankrupt. I think it was Essen at that time, the team you had mentioned before, the Essen Mosquitoes. So they got up on because they needed to fill the amount of teams, because one team went bankrupt. So they got promoted up because they were the finalists.
I gotcha.
I believe it was them that folded. Yeah.
But anyways, you start with Bayreuth and then halfway through you go back to Duisburg and then you're coach of the second league in Germany, right?
Yep. And then another, I think that was just a half a year. And then I went to Mannheim, but I can't remember anymore, Wally. You probably know better than I do. It's on your
the research team's pretty hot, but one thing I'd like to say though is, like, for your wife, you said, was it last night was her birthday?
It was the 21st. The Queen's birthday is my Queen's birthday.
And she's had to travel a lot of different places with you, right? And be up for what you're into. And it must have been quite the ride for her too. So Shed hasn't had a love story in a while. How'd you two crazy kids meet?
Well, I tell you what, you notice the pictures I sent you. There was one of each one of my family, my wife, my boy, my girl, because to me, Wally, the family is the most important thing you got. And I'll tell you right now, if I didn't have her behind me, I'd never be where I am right now, because she's the one that's taking care of everything so that I can go do what I do. And I'm very lucky that way, very fortunate that way. But we met, and I guess this is a pretty mushy love story, but it's true. I'm not making it up. We met in junior high school when we were 12 years old, and we became boyfriend, girlfriend when we were 12.
Really?
And then we went through our lives that way. And there was always kinds. I went to Northeastern, she stayed here. I went to Milan, she stayed here. But we've always been together since we were 12. And we've been married 31 years this year.
Well, you always wonder, right? Like with the crazy lives hockey people live and all the places they got to travel to, like it it takes some serious love to make it all happen, right?
Yeah, and it's easy to forget the people that are behind the players or the coaches or the managers, because the wives, the kids at home, they're the ones that have to really, they have to make sacrifices too. They have to go without their father for 9 months, or without their spouse for 9 months. It's not easy for them, or they have to move around with them and get adjusted to where they're
Well, yeah,
going.
they have
So
to choose whether or
they're
not
actually
they're
the true ones.
yeah, they have to choose whether or not
They're
they're
the ones.
moving with them or like, are
Yeah,
we staying home this season? Are we going? What's it worth?
yeah.
Like, and then you got to follow your passion, which it's you want to follow your passion. You want people to believe in you and think it's a good idea, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They're the ones at the end of the day that make more sacrifice. I get to do what I love to do. You know what I mean? So my
Yeah, you
wife's
do.
the one that has to take my two kids and make sure they're ready to go every day. You know,
Yeah.
I come
So
home, I come home and I get to be the fun dad. She's the one that's got to tell them to clean up their room and stuff. Eh?
no, sounds pretty similar. I've been coming out to the shed a lot, Rico.
Yeah, I guess
It's pretty fun though, isn't it?
it really is. I'm very grateful. I'm able to do the life that I've got to live so far.
I hear you. Okay. Duisburg, whatever. Okay. How do you get, so you go there for 3 years. How do you get to Mannheim as an assistant coach? Do you just throw your name in the hat or do you know somebody?
You know somebody. You know how this game works, Wally.
Yeah, you know somebody.
I go back now. This ties all the way back into my Milan time when I was playing in Milan and won the championship in Milan. Remember we talked about that as a player? Well, that one of the guys on that team was Bill Stewart, my best buddy. He used to take me over. He's older than I am. He's 7, 8 years older than me. I was right out of university and I wasn't eating all the time. And he would take me to his place. And he had 2 young kids and a wife, and he would feed me and I'd fall asleep on his couch. And we became very good buddies. We still to this day are very good buddies. And he saw me in Germany and called me and said, "What are you doing?" And he needed an assistant coach. And there I was in Mannheim.
And he was the head coach?
Yes.
Wow. So that's how it happens. And so then you're moving the family. Are your kids born yet?
No. Actually, when did I go there? I went there 201, didn't I? Or 202 I went there.
Shoot, you're asking the wrong team at this point.
I think I went in 02 because my son was born in 98, so he was already born. So it didn't matter at that age, Wally, because their kids, they don't go to school yet. So it doesn't matter. They go wherever you go. But my daughter was born in 02, and that was my first year in Milan. First year in Mannheim.
Right.
So it wasn't a problem moving the family.
So was Mannheim what it is now? Like, was it like you got an assistant coaching job for the Mannheim, what are they called? Adlers,
Adler.
Not Eagles. It's
Well,
Eagles and
Eagles in
Adler.
English.
Yeah.
Adler is the Eagle. Yeah,
But like, that's a big time job to get, right?
absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
isn't an OHL coaching job.
No, that is by far the premier position or premier club in maybe all of Europe.
There'd be a lot of people ready to talk about that, but
Yeah.
it's a hell of a spot and quite the little academy they got going on. And the facilities, like when I played for you and I showed up my first day for training camp and we were in that facility, I was like, holy shit, look at what they got here in
Remember
Germany.
that?
The first time showing up there, I was like, I didn't know they had NHL rinks in Germany. You know?
That was because we were the farm team for Mannheim that year. Remember? They would send us their young kids.
Oh yeah, I remember Ackerman, Igor, Mapes, and Krul and
Schlager.
Not Krul.
Schlager was with us.
It was what was it? What'd you say?
Wasn't it Philip Schlager with us and Fabian Krul?
No, they weren't the Mannheim guys then. It was that Kirsch guy and Grulke Richard
Gelke.
Gelke. There you go.
Gelke. He's in Selb now. Just stayed in the league. They won the third league, and this year they stayed in the league.
Oh, well, yeah. No, I remember all those kids, man. Like, you remember every teammate, you know? But like,
that's right.
Anyways, like, yeah, you set up that whole deal there. So you're the assistant coach for 2 years. How does it go then as assistant coach after you've been the head coach for a while, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I was still fairly young in my coaching career at that point. I started in 96 and that was 02. So it's only been 6 years and it seems like a lot, but 6 years is still a very young coach, eh? 6 years is a guy who's just figuring out,
you learn a lot each year,
man.
man. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Even coaching under 11s, man, there's a lot of shit going on.
Absolutely, man. And listen, I've been coaching now since 96. And I'm still learning. And I changed everything about the way I coached when I took this job in Csikszereda, because it's a different culture, a different way. You can't coach the same way. And if you do, you'll fail. So if you don't adjust, you will fail. But it was really nice to be in the Mannheim situation, especially working for a guy like Bill Stewart, who was the head coach. And then the whole Hop family, they own the SAP software, and they're just wonderful people that keep giving back to their city and to their people. And I learned a lot about how to do things in a professional manner through that organization. So I was very grateful. But they said at one point, now, okay, Stewart was gone now. Well, you can stay on here. We got no problem. But we want to start up this program with Heilbronn, and we need somebody to take it over. Do you want to do that? Are you interested in that? And I jumped on that. And that was the next 10 years of my life.
It was. And it makes more sense to me now, because when you're a player and like you're a good player in that league, and then you sign with Heilbronn and you're like, this coach tried to get me for years. I'm here. And you wouldn't play me on the penalty kill, and you were playing the kids. The kids were getting ice time. And you're like, why the fuck are these kids getting ice time? Like, they're not ready. They're not good enough. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And then you're like, well, it's because of those ties. And kids need to have ice time. And when you look around, kids need to play to get better. And in Germany, that's not always the case, right?
Exactly. And if you look at the structure we had there, it was pretty much like an American league and an NHL. Obviously, not at that level, but the structure was the same. The parent club sent players that they wanted to see developed. They wanted to see in their lineup at one point or another. So it was my job.
And the problem was they weren't when you bring in imports and the other guys, that like an 18, 19-year-old German wasn't quite there sometimes.
No,
right?
No. And you know what? It's hard to explain to the import because he doesn't give a shit about their development. I need to get a job for next year.
Didn't give a fuck. None.
No, because you needed to score to get your job for next year. But my part of my job description with that club was to develop their kids. So it was easy for me to do.
And it takes you coming out to your shed and maybe rethinking things a little older to figure it out, right?
Yeah, you know what? Hindsight's always 20/20, my friend. Fuck. If I knew then what I knew now.
Okay. Anyways, after that year, where are we? Do you know?
Well, we just finished Mannheim.
Yeah. Mannheim. Yeah. So now you're getting into Heilbronn days. So I think you're one of the guys that, everywhere you're playing, everywhere you're coaching, you're looking for a way to get an up, like to be better, to be the better coach, to win the championship. You guys started those 2-week tryout contracts, didn't you? You started bringing guys over for 2-week tryouts. And the market crashed for some imports, did it not?
Listen, I'm not sure what it did. It sure as fuck helped me find imports.
I understand. And then when you look at it as an older guy that understands business and things a little more, you're like, makes a lot of sense.
Well, you know what? I was tired of just picking imports from a list. because there wasn't the video scouting that we have now. And it was hard to find players. So I said, why should I commit to a guy? I don't know this guy. I'm not going to commit. And it wasn't easy because you didn't get the best players sometimes. But hey, you would always find one. You'd always find one that no one else found.
But what the thing is like I get about it is you're putting your job on the line, your wife, your kids, everything on the line based on who you sign, which players you sign, how they play, where you need them. And if you're not doing your research and you're signing randoms, then that's on you. But like there wasn't the resources there are now, right?
No,
Sorry
now,
for
if I
burping in
want
the
a
mic,
player,
folks.
I click yeah, if I want a player, I click a button and I find video on that player. Back then there wasn't, Wally, you know?
No.
So
No,
you
but
have to
then
find
once you get
people
over there,
built
you're
outside the box.
established. It
Yeah.
changed the market though, because then once you find a Greg Squires or a couple other kids that showed up on
Yeah.
tryouts for like
Yeah.
no money,
Yeah.
you're there all of a sudden you're like, oh, we got something here. And then they got to change
and
the
it makes
rules,
it
right?
easier for the other team says the same thing. Says, no, I'm not going to give you a contract. I'll give you what you want, but you got 2 weeks where I can get out of the contract first.
Yeah.
And then the guys will say, yeah, I could do it, and they'll do it.
I agree.
But in now though, Wally, as I was telling you before, imports are looking for 2-year deals and getting them now, eh?
But that's the thing is like, there's got to be some kind, like, that's where the NHL's gotten to this point where like guys sign 10-year deals, they're getting bought out and they're doing all this. It's a very weird thing. It's like, didn't it matter like playing each year to get paid the next? But like,
it's different now. Everything's much more. These guys are way more professional than they were 20 years ago.
everywhere, right?
Everything. Yeah, exactly.
Everything's way more professional. It used to be kind of fun to be unprofessional.
You're right. You're right.
It really did. Like I enjoyed like not all the bells and whistles, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay. Anyways, we're in Heilbronn. So you signed PJ Fenton, still scared of the shed. He won't come.
No.
But one guy, so you won the Oberliga. That's a question of mine. You won the Oberliga and you won it with obviously some core guys that you bring along with you, but the goalie has really come into his own, eh? Danny Austenbergen. He went from the Heilbronner Falkens to now he's still the German goalie and he's like 38.
He retired this year from the German national team, but he won the silver medal with Germany in the Olympics. He's won, he's played world championships. He's won, I think, 2 or 3 DEL championships. And he was a 19-year-old kid when I first got him.
A 19-year-old kid. Because I saw he like was playing with you through the Heilbronner Falkens and he was everywhere with you. And then
and then he took off. Then his career just took off. He went to Mannheim, played a few years there, and then he got to Munich. He's been in Munich now for maybe 5, 6, 7 years. So his career just took off.
Yeah, well, he should be good. He won't have to even start a shed after hockey. He's gonna be fine.
I'm telling you, he's gonna be okay after hockey.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be just fine. Okay. But some of the studs that so we started this program right in Heilbronn. Okay. And I am a hockey guy and I play hockey against players and I'm like, who's the kid at the cage? Who's the kid there? Who's that kid? Why is he so good? Some of the players that you brought up, okay, Marcus Kink, that the captain of the Mannheim Eagles there, or the Adlers, the goalie there, Birkin, whatever. David Wolf not on your team at some point?
David Wolf played about 2-3 weeks and then went to North America, I believe, in the juniors.
Okay. Well, anyways, you brought up some players, right? Like, and then Corey Mapes and Marco Mueller, like those guys, okay, they're not in the DL and doing whatever, but they are they are exactly what a second league German team needs a person to be. They need a person to be a great person and do whatever it takes to win and be a great teammate. And those two are exactly, and you raised them from puppies.
Well, I love that you're giving me all the credit. And if there's any GMs out there listening, then feel free to call Wally. I think he's my new agent.
There you go. Yeah. Suck it, whoever your agent is now.
The truth of the matter is, Wally, if these kids aren't going to put it in, it's not up to me. It's up to them. I gotta direct them and give them the chance. But at the end of the day, you know it and I know it. It's up to you. If you can't get it done, man, I can't help you.
No, and you're right. At the end of the day, it's what you're willing to do and what you're
exactly. And those two kids, specifically those two kids that you mentioned, Marco Muller and Corey Mapes, they're fucking heart and soul guys, eh?
They're the best teammates around. They're from the same family.
Championships with those boys.
And isn't it strange? They're from the same family. Weird.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I won championships with those boys, man.
Yeah. And so, yeah, getting into that. So, yeah, Heilbronn, we didn't quite do her, right? Not all that shit happens. Okay. Whatever. We did our best.
That's right.
Billets jumped the bench, changed everything, changed everybody's lives. But you know what? Now we're in the shed, so it all worked out.
I'm happy with that.
Right? We all are. Okay, here we go. So we're going to Castle. So the Heilbronn thing ends. Okay. You tell me I'm not wanted back. That's cool. You hire the new coach. So how do you get to Castle?
So I left Heilbronn. I was doing the sport director job. And you know what, Wally? At the end of the day, I'm a coach. I'm not a sport director. I could do it, and I do it well. It's not like I don't know how to do it. I did it.
I know you know how to recruit guys.
I was doing it too.
I know you know how to recruit guys, and I know you can do it, but you want to do it all. You want to be the guy, and you want to do it just like I want to do it.
Yeah, I want to be on the bench at the end of the day too. I don't want to just recruit the players. I want to recruit them and I want to coach them. You know what I mean? Because
it's two different things, right? It's two different things.
That's what I want. Yeah. So that's how I end up going from Heilbronn. I wasn't comfortable doing that role because I couldn't coach them. I could just sign them, and I wanted to coach them. So that's when I went to Castle.
Right. Castle's a historic club, isn't it?
It very much so is. It was one of the original DEL clubs.
When I played there, my first ever game in Germany, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe where I was. I couldn't believe the fans. I couldn't believe anything about the game. And we were in little shitty locker room. I just get to Germany. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm just trying to figure shit out. And we show up. We're 4 games into the season, and we get to Castle, who's the top of the league. And they got the biggest budget. And man, it was insane when I got in that arena. And I was like, I don't even know how to play hockey like this.
It's got a big tradition there, and they love their hockey team in that town, boy. They're great fans.
Love it.
It was great. It was great to win a championship there, boy.
I can imagine. You know what's funny is that clock behind you. It almost looks like you're a peacock right now.
Hey, nothing happens by chance with me. There's a reason I do that. Makes me look important.
Look at that. You never know what time it is.
Like a religious guy. Look at me.
Okay. Anyways, Castle is one of it's a story of mine, I guess. I don't know how much time we got. We could talk forever, apparently. But Castle, my first game ever. My helmet came off. I didn't know that it mattered in the UK. And I played the rest of the shift without a helmet on, got a penalty, and then the team scored on the power play. And that was my first shift ever in Germany. Yeah.
That didn't go well.
No, and then I got to the bench or I got to the penalty box and the announcer guy in German says, or he says to me in English, he goes, "So you must be the new boy." I was like, yeah, because I was skating around without a helmet on. I thought I was trying to show I was
How'd
tough.
you guess that? That I was the new boy. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently you got to keep your helmet on the IIHF. Anyways,
Hey, it's actually like that in the NHL now too, I believe.
yeah, that
Is
goal
it? Like, sure.
that goal in the playoffs, that was embarrassing when that guy had to leave because his helmet came off.
Yeah, see,
Like, are we trying to win or are we trying to lose? Like, that guy can't have to leave. Stop being soft hockey. Figure shit out.
It's all for liability insurances. Because if the player gets hurt while he doesn't have his helmet on, the insurance, the liability insurance doesn't cover.
It's all the NHL protecting themselves, and
it's all about protection, man. Exactly right.
Instead of playing hockey for real. I don't want to talk about that anymore. They should, in the NHL, in all the leagues, they should be allowed to finish the shift and then just get off if that's their choice. They chose to play without their helmet on. That was their choice, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, you won the Oberliga and the third league. We talked about that.
Yeah, with Heilbronner. Yeah,
we talked about that.
Sure.
Okay, you won it in, was it not Dresden, Castle? You won it. You did it.
Yeah, that was something too. You got to think. When I got to Castle, they had just moved up from the Oberliga to the second league. We went in, and my connection with Mannheim was still very good. And we didn't have ice in August in Castle. So I asked the people in Mannheim, like I told you, I was very well connected with them. They're great people, still have a very good relationship with them. And we went and did, like we did with Heilbronn, we went and did our training camp there. And we had 13 people on the ice. We had to borrow players from their junior program to fill out my roster for training camp. That was 1 year later. 18 months later, we won a championship over there.
Really?
Yeah. 15. I signed in 14, June 14. And we won the championship in April 16.
What a day that must have been for you, because like I know in Heilbronn you wanted to win it all. You wanted to do it. Shitheads like myself never got it done. But when you finally get it done, what a feeling that must have been, eh?
It really is, that. And again, we always talk about athletes and how much money they make, but I think everybody forgets I'm not stupid. Everybody plays this game to make a living, and we need to make our money. I got wife and kids to support like everybody else does. But at the end of the day, we don't do this just for the money. We've got to, when you win, there's just nothing like it, man. It's just a great, great feeling. And to win it in a town where hockey is the number one sport in Germany, where normally it's soccer. This is the number one sport in that city, man. So when we won the championship, you did the parade, you went to the city hall. It was just outstanding. It was such a great time.
Oh man, it must have been a hell of a time. I remember the day we won at Bietigheim, and it was shit you never forget, right?
That's right. Exactly. And you remember those things for the rest of your life.
Well, you do, and that's what it's all about. And that's winning is the opposite of losing. But some of the guys you won with, one guy, I'd love to have him on my shed because I watched him play a bit. Cincinnati, I played against him, and he played for Norway, whatever team that was. But Daoust, John Michel Daoust, that guy was a team guy, a player. I felt like he was smarter than me. When I would play against him, he'd be on a power play and he'd set some shit up on a power play. And I'd be like, how'd you come up with that?
I tell you what, there's a story behind JM and me. I tried to recruit JM out of the Quebec Major Junior League after his year there. I tried to convince him not to go to the coast, and he was willing to come. And then he said to me, you know what, Rico, I think I want to take one chance on this and see. And he did. And he went on to have a fantastic career. Did you see that? What that guy's career is? Not just in Europe, but also in North America, eh?
No,
So
he's a player.
Yeah, and what a great person. His wife's a beautiful lady. I have 2 kids now. One was just born or recently born when he got to Castle with me. And when I called him up again, it seemed like that connection from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, never had gotten away from us. And I managed to sign him to come to Castle. And I truly believe that was one of the key signings that helped us win the championship, because his experience, his attitude, his professionalism, and his game on the ice was just unbelievable. Eh?
Well, it changes teams, right? Like as a coach, you can do what you want, but you need the right people in the right spots to win a championship. And it's not all about the coach. It's about having the right leadership guys, right? Like the right guys that are steering the bus. And that guy, I seen him play a few times. I saw the way he acted on the ice, the way he's a player.
Yeah, he's a leader.
Yeah.
He's a genuine leader, and his teammates love him.
Right.
And so does his coaches. Because, look, he wasn't always agreeable. Didn't always say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. He said, why are we doing this? I don't like this. Why are we doing that? But he brought an intelligence into the game that would always have you thinking to make sure you're doing the right things.
Because he might call you out, right? He might say, well, why the hell are we doing this?
Exactly. And you'd have to think about it because he knew what he was talking about.
I watched him play. I saw him play. And then when I was in Sunderjyski and we played the Challenge Cup, I watched his power play, and he was playing for Stavanger for Norway. And I was a power play guy. And they set up something. It was so simple, but so easy. They put the defensemen really close together, and like the one guy was going to take a one-timer. And it's like, well, why the fuck haven't I thought of that? Anyways, okay, I got sidetracked. Another guy that would have probably had to have been on your side. And he was a legend of the town. And you say it's the number 1 team is Klinge.
Manuel Klinge. Yeah. He is Castle hockey, to be honest. That guy. So here's the story on Manuel. He quit the DEL in Mannheim. He had a 3-year deal in Mannheim for well into the 100+ category.
Yeah.
And he walked away from it to go back to his hometown of Castle in the 4th league, not the 3rd, the 4th league, and took that team up from the 4th league to when I got there in the 1st league to win a championship with me. That's the story on Manuel Klinge.
The 2nd league. Yeah. But that is crazy that he did that. So do they have some private sponsors for him then to come home?
You know what?
In Germany, that's a thing.
I'm sure there was more to it than I know, but I know he walked away from a 6-figure contract to go back to the 4th league.
To come home and that's the thing. It's like in hockey, in life, there's personal decisions you got to make, right? And it's who you want to be.
A perfect example of that is the Leafs right now with Giordano. He signed for $800,000. His last contract was $6.5 million.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's home. He wants to come home.
Yeah, and you want to win, and I agree. Okay. The other guy you brought with you though was Adriano, so he won with you. And I honestly, in Heilbronn, I think Adriano Carciola was up there. Like he was young, somewhat, but he was up there for my favorite teammates. That guy would do anything. He'd go to the net. He could score. Like he was just a teammate. He was there for anybody in any situation. He was ready to talk. He was just a team guy. And that's who you win with, guys like that. Yeah.
And I won with him in Castle, that guy there. You know what I mean? And Castle's his hometown too. So when I took Fabio Fabio from Mannheim.
I
So
saw that.
I took him to Heilbronn with me after he had left the DL. And he came in, and I knew his family because they're Italians, and us WAPs, we stick together. So he came to me and said, Rico, please think about taking my brother. Think about taking my brother. And I said, I did one of those 2-week things. I said, okay, we'll take him, but he's got 2 weeks and that's it. And the boy was what he is. You know what he is. You knew how he could play the game. You knew what he was for a teammate. And then I took him with me to Castle.
Well, yeah, he was an awesome dude. And that just brought up a memory. This is why I remember everything in my career. Okay. Is because now you just brought up a memory.
Someone reminds you about it.
We were driving on a road game somewhere, and we stopped the Carciola's parents' restaurant, and we were eating there. And I was like, this is the best meal I've ever ate in my life. And you yelled at me in front of the whole team, and you said, Wally, it isn't a wedding. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, what do you want me to do? You give me this food on the way to a game, I'm gonna fucking eat it.
We used to stop there in Castle when we'd be on the way to Krimitschau or to Weisswasser.
And my word, what a meal that was.
That was great, eh?
God, speaking of the meals I've had in my life, that at the Carciola's family restaurant in Castle, that was right up there.
Yeah. So listen, my first year I got to Castle, I went to eat one time at People's. That's the Carciola father. And I said, oh my God, I got to go shopping by me. That's the first year my family went back to Canada. And I said, oh my God, I said, I went shopping. I bought one onion, I said, because I don't know how many onions I should buy. I never did the shopping. My wife did it. He says, you don't have to go shopping. You come here and you eat here the rest of the year. Don't worry about it. And I ate at his place every night, any night I wanted to, without ever having to pay for anything.
Really?
Yeah. That's how the Carciolas are.
Jeepers. That costs money to do all that stuff, right? Like, it's
what I mean?
like when I do the shed here and I like have these clothes and everything, like what's weird for me is I think everybody that's listening to this are like mainly hockey players. And like, there's guys that are like, hey, can you send me a shirt or a sweater? I'm like, I don't make money doing this. So like, I can't send you stuff. Like, I have to make money before I can send you stuff. If I made money, I'd do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even know how these podcasts work. I'm lucky my daughter was around to hook me up because I wasn't sure what to do with this. I thought it was just a radio. I didn't know it was the video.
I'm still confused what to do with it.
Like, I would have got dressed up if I knew it was video. I would have shaved.
No, like so this has been listened to now in 56 countries, and I still haven't figured out how to make money or like do anything with it. And it's like, so the website guy, the guy that makes the website, so he told me, he's like, you do it for free voluntarily for a year, pay for the domain, do everything. I'm like, well, that's really cool. Fire it up. So we've done it. We've gotten it to this point, but we do need sponsors now, folks. We need 4 more sponsors. We got a easy deal, 200 pounds for the year. He gets you up on the website. Your shed sponsor. Fun fact is, though, you don't get to tell me who to talk to, when to talk to them, or how to talk to them, but you get to be a sponsor, right?
Sounds like an easy deal, man.
I think so. Sign up, folks. 200 pounds for the year, and we get to keep the website going. I only need 5 sponsors. I got 1 so far. Done, right?
Get it done, Wally.
Yeah, here we go. Jamie McQueen. That name mean anything to you?
Best fucking scorer I've seen in a long, long, long time.
He means a lot more to you than Brent Walton, doesn't he?
Wally, I won a championship with that boy.
I know. You could tell me. It's okay. It doesn't. I know what I did for you. I know it wasn't enough. I know it wasn't enough. That's why we're talking now. That's why we're talking right now.
Listen, if I didn't fucking like you, I wouldn't be on your show, would I?
I agree. And I agree that Jamie McQueen fucking made it happen. 23 points in 14 games. You know, I know it says it's unstable. What's he, a left shot, right shot? What's he doing? You're not putting him in the
Left
pocket.
shot.
Yeah, you're letting him run the half wall though, right? You're not putting him in the fucking shooter spot.
I had him on the one-time shot because this kid should hit the puck like nobody's business, eh?
You didn't.
Nobody's business. Wally, your shot, as good as it was, and it was good. And
My
anybody who
shot's
doesn't know
not
it,
that good.
anybody who doesn't know it should watch. Your pucks went in, Wally. They weren't the hardest, they weren't the best, but they went in the net. That's what counted. This kid's shots were rockets, man. This kid launched rockets.
So he's a shooter.
Yeah.
He's a straight shooter.
Pure shooter.
Because I don't think I'm a pure shooter. I think I can adapt to who I'm playing with. I think if you're a shooter, I can be a passer. If you're a passer, I'm a shooter. I can do what you want.
When you were there? Who did I have you playing with?
Well, Lev says he never got to play with me. So I think it was Hackert. I think it was Michael Hackert for most of the year, which he was a centerman that liked the puck too, you know. But on the power play, I was the middle of the slot guy. I'm not that guy.
You were the bumper.
I was the bumper. I'm not the bumper. I got to touch it more. I got to touch it more before I can shoot it. You know, I tried to talk to you, but I couldn't. I was too nervous. I was such a young boy. Now I'm finally telling you.
I'm an easy guy to talk to, man.
I know. I was such a, that's a P word, but I was in my hockey career. I should have been like, listen, like, this is what I'm good at. You should not put me there, but I just would do it, you know?
Well, that's also something I've learned over the years, Wally, that I'll ask a player what he needs in order to be successful so that I can put him in a position he needs to be in so he can be successful.
I think that's what you have to do with them now, right? Like, and it's like, well, what type of player are you? And it's like, but there's still this is what I think you are, right?
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, I got to make the call. I got no problem making the call. But I think if I got a player who's happy and comfortable in this position, he'll be a more successful player. He'll have a better chance at being successful anyways.
That's why I had you on my shed. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. So anyways, what did we talk about? Anything else? You got 5 years in Castle, 5 years. Yeah. So what happens when that ends? How does it end after you won the championship?
You know how it is, Wally. You win and you're a hero, and then the next year everybody expects you to win again. You don't, because in the DEL2, by the way, I'm not sure if Bietigheim did it back to back, but I don't think they did. There hasn't been back-to-back championships in over 15 years in that league. It's very hard to do because the turnover of players is so high, eh? So that's how it ends, man. You win.
You win, and then the expectations rise, and then when things aren't quite going as well, then all of a sudden I think a change is better. And Germany, you know what? Don't say anything anymore. Okay, stop talking. Germany hockey, absolute gong show when it comes to coaches. When it comes to GMs, when it comes to the whole deal, the fans are very passionate. They can love you. They can hate you. They love you for a while. It's great. But when it comes to hiring and firing coaches, some of the people making the decisions are so far from hockey people and have any idea what they're doing. It is wild. And it's also wild that you have stayed on so many teams for so long, and it's the person you are, and you're not full of bullshit like a bunch of it is. But a lot of hockey players going over to Germany, they get over there and they get a bad situation, and they're like, well, this is not what I want to do with my life. And then they're gone, right?
Absolutely. It's like you said, sometimes saying less is better than saying more. Um,
And
it's
I know
really
you
hard.
don't want to say anything because you'd want to coach in Germany again, but you'd want it to be the right situation. It'd have to be the right situation, right?
Yeah, I'm very comfortable working in that country, working with those people there because I've been there so long, Wally. I know how it works. Everybody knows how I work. So anybody that's taken me knows what they're getting. Anybody I go to work with, I already know who they are. So it's a little bit easier for me than it would be for somebody who's just stepping over there now. It's a lot more difficult for them.
Right. And it's a different landscape, but like that you won it where you are now shows you can adapt to any situation, right?
Well, I'll
I
tell you that's true. I said to you before, I had to really change a lot of the things the way I approached not just this coaching strategies, but also the way I approached my day-to-day routine with these guys. I can't push them like I pushed you guys because I had 13 players that were under 23 years old. I got 7, 8 players that are over 35. I can't push those guys. They're not gonna jump.
and every team's totally different, right? And it's
That's that's right.
every
So
team's got its different pulse, it's got its different leadership core. And like for me, it's been hard giving up the under 11 team and what it was and what we had and dropping off those mini sticks to my little fellas. And, you know, it was kind of like, I'm giving you these, but like next year we're going to have tryouts and I'm going to might have to cut some of those fucking kids, you know?
it's not gonna be easy,
If
man.
I'm the coach, if I'm good enough at coaching to be the coach next year, then I'd have to cut some of those kids maybe that I just gave a mini stick to and just had a full season with. And like I love those kids, but each year you have to put the best team on the ice you can, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And even at the pro level, when you have to make decisions like that, because listen, we try to act like we're all professional and it's all business, and I don't really care, but I care about you, man. It's not like I don't care about you. And when I have to make a decision over you and another player, then I have to make the decisions that's best for my hockey club. It's got nothing to do with the other stuff. So it's not always easy to separate those things.
Well, it's definitely not. And it isn't anytime, but like at the end of the day, like it's up to the kids or the players to like go out there and just do it, right? Like you can make the
Yeah.
decision a lot easier by just giving her.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I always say to my players: make my decision difficult for me. It's your job to make it hard for me to keep you off the ice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got anything else for me before we shut her down? It's been a long one. I know the family's itching for dad to be back around. Oh, you moved your head, Peacock. I can see the time now. What does it say?
2
5 to.
hours, buddy.
Wow, sorry, man. You got more to talk about than just this.
Listen, it's the fastest 2 hours I've spent in a long time, my friend. I enjoyed it very much. I've never done one of these things before. I don't even know how they work. So
Yeah.
now this was live on the air or what?
So I gotta like say goodbye to you, and then once we say goodbye, it'll start downloading, and then I literally just send it. I just like send it. It'll be gone tonight.
And what if somebody wants to see it? What do they have to do? They have to subscribe or what?
Oh no, nobody pays for this shit. This is voluntary. I just do this for free. But if you want to sponsor the website at aleshockeytales.com, you get to get on the website and at like, so we do have 3,000 folks clicking on the website every month. If you want to be a sponsor, that's cool. I never started this to get sponsors and make money. I did this because I missed my friends and I missed the hockey game. And I apparently need to to keep their whole thing going, I got to find some sponsors to get the website rolling for another year. But if you want to sponsor it, feel free. If not, don't. Right, folks? Because I'm going to do it for free anyways. We just might not have a website.
Good for you. You're doing what you want to do, Wally. You're a good man. I'm really glad we got this opportunity because I don't know. Last time I thought about Brent Walton, to be honest, but when his name came up, it was quick. It was quick and easy for me to say, get me in touch with him, man.
No, seriously. Like the year in Heilbronn wasn't the easiest for any player, or the coach. We were supposed to be good. We didn't follow through. And I know what your obligations were with the young guys and getting them on the PK and whatever. And there were some hiccups. But at the end of the day, I respected you. You were honest with me. You told me exactly what was up. You were like, if you don't play good, these Slovaks are going to take your job. If you play good, you're going to be in the lineup. And guess what? I was in the lineup, right? So
every time, brother. You were a good player, Wally. You did your game. You knew your game. You were smart. You knew how to play the game. There's no question about that. You wouldn't have had the career you had if you didn't know what you were doing.
Well, yeah. But and the same for you, man. Look at the career you've had. You just won the Erste Liga and you've never been there before. It takes people to be able to adapt, to learn new leagues, to learn how to coach in different styles. And you've done that. You've done everything that hockey's thrown at you. And I think it's pretty cool.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that very much, man. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk to you again that I haven't seen in all these years, man.
Yeah.
It's been a decade.
Well, dude, you became a Deutsche Meister in the second league after the Heilbronn thing when they wouldn't buy the good sticks. Man, when I saw you won it with the boys, I was like, fuck, that's awesome, because I understand the position you were in when that season ended. And, when I'm walking out of there and Toto says to me, he goes, I think this is a mistake. I think you're a good guy for a team. I was like, I understand. I know where we're at. I've been in Germany for 6 years. I get it. And you move on and you carry on. And you know what? That's the only way this whole thing exists and the only way we've ever talked to each other again, right?
Always honest and open, man. Not always agreed, but always honest and open.
Exactly. And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Rico and Wally.